This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Athletics.
Leaping at the wall, it's gone! A towering drive into center field by Rooker.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
A judging it blast. All rise. Here comes the judge.
Swung on, hit high, hit deep to right, away back into the second deck.
Bobby Witt Jr. becomes the first shortstop in Major League history to have two 30-30 seasons.
Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to walk-off dingers to Hall of Fame talk. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of A's Cast Live from the ballpark here in West Sacramento, as the Athletics are starting a 4-game set against the Houston Astros. It is wonderful to be back. We've got a massive show for you today. Tony Kemp finally been announced. I thought we had already talked about it on this show. Former A Tony Kemp's going to be joining me on pre and post NBC A's Cast on NBC Sports California, and I'm sure we'll do some television, we'll do some radio over time, but for the next few days we'll be filling in for our guy Steve Sachs. Get well, Steve, as Steve had a procedure done, and he is doing well. So can't wait to have Saxy back. But in the meantime, Tony Kemp, who obviously was a terrific A, and we always loved having him on this show right here on A's Cast Live, and now is going to be my partner, and we're going to have a great show. He's going to stop by here. Have we decided? Because we're also going to have Denzel Clarke, who has won it's the electric catch of the week.
Electric play of the week. And
electric play of the week for the third straight week. Like, I don't even remember when this award started. Never even cared until Denzel won it.
3 weeks in a row.
So, like, before, it's like I never even paid attention to it. Well, now Denzel Clarke's won it 3 weeks in a row. Of course he's won it 3 weeks in a row. Probably win it 4 weeks in a row after what he does in this series against the Houston Astros. So we're going to have Tony Kemp on at around 5:15. Then we're going to have Denzel Clarke stop by at 5:30. We haven't talked to Denzel since he made his debut in Canada, and he was at the Rogers Center. He was back home, obviously grew up in Canada, grew up not far from the Rogers Center. We'll talk to him at 5:30. And then George Evans, who is a prostate cancer survivor, is going to throw out the first pitch, because we're going to talk a lot about prostate cancer today here at the ballpark. For us men, a really, really big deal. And it's a big deal that everybody, you have your blood tested and that you do it once a year. And my brother has had prostate cancer. It's something that I worry about. It's something that they have found out that men whose mothers had breast cancer, there is part of that's passed down to the sons into prostate cancer. So there's something you need to be aware of, and you need to get tested, especially as you get older. So we will talk to George coming up here at about George Evans, a cancer survivor, prostate cancer survivor, coming up here. What time is he going to be here?
He'll be here at 5:50. It's Prostate Cancer Awareness Night here at the ballpark in West Sacramento. So it'll be great to catch up with him right before, as we end the show, before we kick it over to Johnny and Ken.
All right, so we've got big things that have happened, right? Obviously, the A's sweeping 3 games in Kansas City makes you feel better. There were 9 sweeps over the weekend. Unbelievable. 9 series that were swept. It's only the 3rd time in MLB history we have at least 9 sweeps completed on a Sunday. Got to go back to 2006 and 2007. Just unbelievable. So a lot of good things to talk about with the A's. We will get into that. The sweep is good. Jacob Wilson, who right now is leading the All-Star votes, because we thought, let's face it, Bobby Witt Jr., who the Athletics saw over the weekend, because, he has been such a great player that he easily would win. Jacob Wilson's really in his first year, that he would easily win the fan vote, but that's not the case. We found out today Jacob Wilson is leading the fan vote by a lot. So for sure, obviously the A's will have an all-star representative in Atlanta, but it could be a starter. And what were you telling me? A guy hasn't been voted in since Bert Campaneris?
The A's having a starting shortstop starting the All-Star game since Campy did it in 19 75, so that'd be 50 years ago if Jacob Wilson gets voted in and starts the All-Star game this year in
So
Atlanta.
that's a big deal. But obviously with this show, we talk more than just A's, and we have to get into the blockbuster trade and also the fact that Shohei Ohtani is going to be back on the mound. I don't love it, and I know I should, but I know the minute Shohei Ohtani starts pitching again, he's going to be the opener tonight. They're playing the Padres, right?
Correct, yes.
It's going to be the opener tonight against the Padres. I might be in the minority. I don't love it, and because I saw what happened in Anaheim where they finally said, all right, we're going to take the governors off and we're going to allow him to go full speed, and his body couldn't take it. His body couldn't take full-time pitching and hitting. So what does that mean? Well, they're desperate for pitching. I get it. I understand where LA is. That would be the Dodgers, not LA Angels, who are actually in Anaheim. My problem is this guy is greatness. Shohei Ohtani is the greatest skill set of a player we've ever seen in this game. No offense to whoever your favorite guy is of all time. Obviously, a lot of people who watch this show and listen to the show are younger, but I know there's the fans of Willie Mays, and there's the fans of DiMaggio, and the fans of Aaron and Ruth and Williams, and nobody's had this guy's skill set. His size, his power, his speed, for God's sakes, he just went 50-50. I tune into Dodger games to watch him play because I'm a baseball fan. And as great as Freddie Freeman is, and as great as Mookie Betts is, I want to watch Shohei hit. I want to watch. Shohei was 50-50. It's because people ask me all the time, because people want to say, is he the greatest baseball player? No, he's not the greatest baseball yet, because there's a lot of longevity that goes with being the best baseball player of all time. But he is no doubt the best skill set we've ever seen. And you throw in the pitching. So I'm hoping they can figure out a way, kind of like what Cal State Fullerton did with our manager, Mark Kotze, which, by the way, Gage Wood today, I was watching it, Arkansas, he's going to be a top pick. He almost threw a perfect game through the fourth no-hitter in college, they now call it men's because they've lumped in women's, the softball with the College World Series, which I guess they didn't used to. But in college baseball, men's college baseball World Series, just the fourth no-hitter, he had a perfect game going, was incredible. The only reason why I really bring that up is because our buddy Road Trip Mike is there, and he went through the museum, and Mark Kotze is in the museum there because our manager, Mark Kotze, who I played against in college, is arguably the greatest college baseball player of all time because of what he did offensively and what he did pitching. And that's what Kotze did. Kotze kicked the crap out of you for 8 innings as an offensive player and as a defensive player in center field. Then he came in the 9th inning, blew you away as a closer.
You are smoking hot.
Thank you, Steve Sachs. That's what Mark Kotze, that's the kind of role. If I'm going to see Shohei Ohtani get back to pitching, it's got to be in a reliever role. It's got to be in a high leverage. Do not mess with his bat. Clearly what he's done as a leadoff guy, he's scoring runs at a record pace. He's stealing over 50 bags, hitting over 50 home runs. He has the chance to do stuff that he's the first 50-50 guy. So me saying he has the chance to do stuff that no one's ever done before, he's doing that.
In 70 games, he scored 73 runs. He leads baseball with 25 homers. He has 1,034 OPS. Now, he's not on pace to 50-50 this year, but he's going to be a 20-20, 30-30 guy probably. Again, he has 11 steals, but that might all change when he goes back to the mound. He hasn't pitched in 600.
He's going to stop stealing bags.
Yeah.
Because he's going to save his energy. You only have so much energy, and the minute Shohei Ohtani starts pitching again, the skill set will not be the same. And we may never see that again in our lifetime. Another guy go 50-50. He had the ability to do it every year. All right. On that note, flip to the other diamond note that we're going to talk about is the big trade. I was absolutely shocked. Normally in trades, you like it for one side over the other. I love this trade for both sides. And I hate saying that because one of the sides is the San Francisco Giants. And you know what? The other side is the Boston Red Sox, and I hate them too. But I looked at this trade. The Giants have desperately tried to give people money. They tried to give Aaron Judge the money. Obviously, he was going to remain in New York. Carlos Correa would have signed with anybody, would have signed with a team on the moon if it was the right amount of money. But obviously, they didn't like what they saw with the medicals. The Mets didn't like it. And then they really dodged a bullet because Carlos Correa went to the Mets and then let everybody go, I really probably don't want to even play 13 years anyway. And it was like, what? The Mets almost signed you. The Giants almost signed you. Carlos Correa is nothing but hurt. I mean, marvelous player, terrific postseason guy, but a guy to give $300-something million to for 13 years, the Giants dodged a bullet. But the Giants have been desperately trying to find an offensive free agent to take the money. And now they got their guy. Devers, Wainwright, is an absolute beast. Obviously, he's not a good defender, but you don't care. He's a flawed player. You know that. But he's an offensive beast, and you're going to put him in that ballpark, and a left-handed guy that hits like that, we haven't seen guys hitting the ball in the Cove since Barry Bonds. You're going to start seeing balls go in the Cove again. So I think it's a huge win for the Giants. They're taking on $250 million. They don't care. They got the money. They need a star player. They need a star offensive player. No offense, Yaz. You're not that. Willie Adames, not that. They haven't had a star offensive player. Buster Posey was great, but a star offensive player they haven't had since Barry Bonds. They've been trying to replace a Barry Bonds bat for years. They do that here with Devers. For Boston, why do I like it? You get that guy out of here. The only reason they gave him $300 million was because they let Mookie go. Chaim Bloom, it was an idiotic decision. You should have done everything you can to keep Mookie. Mookie Betts is Mookie Betts will have a plaque in Cooperstown, New York, no question. You have a problem with that?
No, I don't disagree at all.
Okay, Mookie's going to have a plaque. You let that guy. That guy should have been a Red Sox for life. You screwed that up, and you couldn't screw it up again with Devers, so you gave Devers that money.
Here, by the way, Mookie already has a 73 WAR. He's in.
Yeah, Mookie's in. It doesn't matter what I think. He's going in. Devers, right now, that whole debacle, and I know people are complaining and talking about how front office screwed it up. Whether the front office screwed it up or not, when you're paying somebody $300 million, you need them to be a leader. You need them to be a guy that's willing to do anything for the team. And you got all these incredibly talented young prospects coming up. And the reports that he was mad that Christian Campbell said, I'll play first base. You can't have that kind of guy in your clubhouse when you have, I've got a buddy who's a Boston Red Sox fan. He sent me like, when Roman Anthony showed up, like the Roman Empire is finally here. Like when you got all these top prospects coming up, you can't have the star of the team be a cancer inside that clubhouse. You just can't. Ever since the press conferences, then the owners the owners flew out to Kansas City
with Craig Breslin.
This whole thing was just a mess. He had to go. So you get some pitching, you get some prospect capital if you're the Red Sox, and you get rid of, no offense, a bad body guy in $250 million. To me, I think great for the Red Sox. The money it frees up, what it does inside the clubhouse can reshuffle the deck, who's the leadership in there. And then for the San Francisco Giants, they get the first real legit bat they've been looking for since Barry Bonds.
Yeah, he could, it won't count this year because obviously he has 15 home runs already, but he could become the first 30 home run guy for them since Bonds did it in 2004.
He will be.
Yeah, I like to trade for the Giants because it gets you the star power, as you mentioned. And then with Boston, they get a chance to play all these young guys. And you're going to have Bregman. The only thing I worry about is, well, if Bregman opts out, then you're worrying about who plays third base. But that's something you worry about down the line.
But Bregman, Cody, you've got these hotshot young guys that are your future 8-10 years from now. Bregman's not going to be there.
Yeah. Well, you're saving a lot of money by getting rid of that contract.
Yeah. You save that
you
money
could re-sign those guys
for these kids.
We already resigned Campbell.
But these kids don't need that. Like we're looking at Tony Kemp. You need somebody. You need leadership. You need somebody that comes in and helps these kids. And Devers is at that point to where that just wasn't going to happen. And it was so toxic. But it's a situation to where it's perfect. I think the trade was absolutely – so if you're a Giants fan, I think you have to be ecstatic because you've got a legit middle order of the bat for years to come, and you don't care about the money whatsoever. The money does not matter. And then for the Boston Red Sox, what it does for their leadership and what it does for all their young players and where they're looking to take their franchise and freeing up that $250 million is a big deal. Well, now joining us here on A's Cast Live, obviously a fan favorite for many years, Tony Kemp is joining our broadcast team. He's going to be a part of everything that we do. We're going to have him on the next few days here on A's Cast, pre and post on NBC Sports California, eventually up in the booth. He'll be doing some TV, do some radio. How are you?
Yeah. Hey. What an introduction. Thank you. I appreciate it. Great.
I mean, you got to think about what this franchise means to you, what it meant to your career.
Yeah. And
now to come back and know that you're going to be a part of it once again as a broadcaster, because you got the love on the field. I mean, you saw your former coaches, former teammates, and how much you mean to this organization.
Yeah, I think, we talked about it earlier, just very fortunate and blessed to be in this opportunity. And to be home was amazing, and to get the call from the A's to come do something like this. And I always wanted to talk the game. I think it's a cool perspective to have from a utility player standpoint. I'm not saying I'm going to be in the Hall of Fame by any means, but I wore a lot of different hats, a lot of different gloves. So just be able to see that game and give that perspective, I think it'd be good.
No doubt about it. And you think about your role and where that role is in baseball today, right?
Oh, yeah.
Versatility is king. No, how many guys are just bringing one glove to the ballpark anymore? That's not very, very rare.
Yeah, I think now, and that was just my motto. I'm like, hey, however I can get on the field, and impact the game anyway, whether that be pinch running or getting a pinch hit late in the game. I just wanted to be in the action. And now utility players, I mean, there's a lot of guys that are wearing a lot of different gloves, especially coming to the ball field now. So if you want to stay in the big leagues, you better play multiple positions.
And also a key with you coming in and you've just played, you understand what these front offices are trying to do. And you understand how everything gets passed down to the coaching staff, how the coaching staff then has to present it to the players.
Yeah.
You were just in that you were just in what we call now modern day baseball, which is far different. It changed from the time you were first in the game to where you were leaving the game.
Yeah. And listen, I had a phenomenal career. I would not change anything. I have no regrets. And sitting and talking to my wife and just being able to go through how we lived in the moment each year was just phenomenal. But once it got toward the end, you start to see teams are looking for exit velocity or arm strength. And I wasn't the guy that to go hit a 112 exit velo, line drive anywhere. It was more, I might get jammed, but I got a single. And so now front offices and teams, I feel like, are looking more into those metrics. And, the big leagues, it's constantly changing and evolving. And to be able to stay in the big leagues, you have to evolve with it.
Yeah.
And, no hard feelings. My time just ran out. But I had a phenomenal career, and I think it's going to be a lot harder for guys like myself, undersized guys who are trying to get into the big leagues and make it, because their metrics aren't going to line up to what these teams are looking for.
What I'm hoping, and when you watch the College World Series going on today, speed still plays, athleticism still plays. Teams are starting to realize, and we're going to have it here for Denzel Clarke, that, what Denzel Clarke has brought to this team, where you're hoping you're going to get more out of the bat, but what he does defensively, he can help you win games. I'm hoping just not everything what you talked about, the launch angle and exit velocity and everything's about hitting a 2-run shot. is that once you get inside the game and they say play ball, defense, speed, athleticism still wins games.
Let's play the game. Let's play the game. And hopefully once we get up, we'll talk. But I was able to text Denzel a little bit about just breathe, because I could just see the game was speeding up on him a little bit before they had went to the Toronto series, and just be able to bounce stuff back and forth off him. And I'm not taking any credit for what he's doing. I think it's just nice to be able to give my perspective of what it looks like from the outside to him. And you could tell after the conversation he had some more confidence. I'm like, just visualize what it's going to look like of you making big plays out there. We're not even going to talk about the bat, just you doing the things that you do well. And I mean, he made some pretty phenomenal catches. I'm not, like I said, I'm not taking any credit for it, but just give him time. He'll be good.
And speaking of somebody who knows a little bit about making incredible catches, some of the acrobat catches you made back, we were highlighting those all the time on this show, how incredible it was. How long did it take you to decompress? How long did it take to go, you know what? I'm not playing. I'm sitting at home. I got ample time with my children, your beautiful girls. Just how long did it take you to just it's over?
I think so. My family, some people close to me, my wife, my brother, a couple in-laws knew. I knew that I was probably going to retire. I just knew once spring training started, and guys like myself who had around 7 years of big league time, but they're 33 years old. It's a young man's game. And once I finally posted it on May 15th, my wife started crying, and then I started crying. I was like, you did this to me. Anyway, but I've been able, and like I said, I sleep good at night knowing that, I did it the right way, and I have no regrets in anything that I did on the field, because I know that every day I came out and I gave it everything I had, and that's it. I think it's just going to be cool to do stuff like this and have a springboard into a career like this, and we'll see where it goes.
Everybody always thinks about coaching, and I always say, getting back into, it's like being a player. It's
the same schedule.
It's the flights, it's the hotels, it's the long hours. And now you're putting in all of that, and you can't control it because now you're just coaching the player. It's one thing when you can affect the game. You can affect the games with your bat, your legs, your glove. Now you can't affect the game at all. I love this for you, and I love this for your family, because your kids are young, and these are the these are the ages you need to be around. You need to help raise them, turn them into the women you want them to become. So it's going into coaching is, everybody always wants to push people into coaching, right?
Listen, I love the game. Maybe there will be a time where I am giving back in a coaching way in some capacity, but I just feel like right now, to be able to do a couple games and fly in and fly out and still be there for the soccer games and the swim meets. And I feel like that's more beneficial for what I want. If I needed the money or something, maybe, but I think right now I'm happy and I'm excited.
All right, Cody, do we have loaded up the special surprise? So put these on. I want you to hear this. Now, a lot of people think that I'm full of S-bomb and I don't know what I'm talking about, but I tell them I have this crystal ball. I always talk about the crystal ball that I have.
Are you going back?
And that I see things. Not everybody believes that I see things. I'm going to take you back to 2023 spring training. Are you ready? Spring training, Mesa, Arizona.
In front of the dugout?
2023. I think broadcasting could be in your future.
Okay, all right. It'd be me and you.
No, I'm just saying, you could be up in the booth.
Yeah.
You could be a studio guy.
Thank you.
But, I mean, because intelligent baseball talk, you got it, and I think that could be something that long-term would be something that keeps you in the game.
I appreciate it.
So I don't know if you've ever thought about that, but broadcasting could be in your future.
Once I went to Vanderbilt and got my degree in communications, I feel like it was kind of a second calling. Look at you.
So you weren't thinking about your future in 2023 because you had a season to get into. I saw this a long time ago, and I when we found out that you were going to be joining me, I had Cody. I'm like, Cody, you got to go back, because I remember we brought this up to him in spring training. So I predicted this in 2023 that this would happen.
Crystal ball.
I've always felt this would be a terrific role for you, because this role is one that you're young, you're just in the game. I mean, you played for Mark Kotze.
Yeah.
These coaches coached you. Like you've been a part of this system. You are an A.
Yeah.
I think this role just and this is just the first part of it. I see this growing and growing inside of our organization. As I said in 2023, I looked into the Towny crystal ball. This is your future.
Hey, you can come spend the night at my house anytime you want to. No, I really do appreciate it. I think it'll be fun. And I've always.
Do you remember that?
Yes, of course I remember that, because we were laughing about it, because I took off the headset. All right, put the microphone down, and you looked at me in my eyes, and no, seriously, seriously, you should consider broadcasting.
Yeah.
And yeah, here we are.
Well, and there's a lot. I know you've done some stuff. You can let the fans know you've done some stuff with your alma mater, and you've been doing stuff with some college baseball.
Yeah, so I think I did about 5 or 6 games with the SEC network, and just being able to talk the game in the college sense was fun too, because it kind of put me back when I was at Vanderbilt from 2011 to 2013, and just get my feet wet in the field, and then kind of feel like what it was like to be in the booth and talk the game. And first couple games were a little shaky, but then I feel like I got a little bit of a rhythm, and then I was able to just kind of figure out what worked best for me.
Does it shock you? Now, I'm a lot older than you, so when I was I'm in the Kotze and I played against Kotze in college, right? So I'm in the Kotze era. When I watch college baseball now and the antics and the things that they do, I just go, you can get away with that?
Yeah.
Like, does it shock? I know I'm an old dinosaur.
No.
Does it shock you?
No, listen, I've always been hey, respect the game, play this way. Listen, the kids are playing. It's way different now. And I think some things do cross the line, like, some celebrations or whatever. But, hey, I'm not on that field. I'm not that coach. I'm not, I'm not within their program. So, hey, if it's allowed in that program, then so be it. But I feel like I'm 33 and I'm an old head, because I was taught in baseball, hey, show no emotion and this, and this and X, Y, and Z. But the game's changed.
And you're from one of the great programs. I mean, the factory, as they like to call it.
The factory.
Vandy.
It's changing, though. NIL has changed, too. It's changed.
See how much money you would have been making back in college baseball back in the day.
Everything happened for a reason. Everything. Maybe my head would have got too big, and we wouldn't be talking here today.
Well, it is great to have you here. It's great to have you part of this show, A's Cast Live, and then, of course, what we're going to do on NBC. Denzel Clarke is right around the corner. He'll be next right here on A's Cast Live.
A's center fielder Denzel Clarke joined Towny on A's Cast Live to share the moment he realized he made it to the big leagues.
I think there was a couple of them. Obviously, I think the first time you get any type of action in the game, it's just like, okay, I've made it here, I think. First game, Trey Turner's up at the plate, and he hits a ball over my head, and it's just like, okay, I'm running for a ball in a big league game officially now. Like, this is pretty dope, because I was born playing at Minute Maid. Past couple of days, I was really special as well. Just centers, looking up, seeing 3 decks up there. I mean, it was very special. Now, third part of it is coming back home to a place I've been fortunate enough to play at. And just see a lot of games at. It's a blessing.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/AceCast.
Calling all kids ages 4 to 15. Join the A's and the Rivercats for our free, family-friendly play ball weekend event in West Sacramento. Saturday, June 14th, from 10 a.m. to noon at the Alice Norman Bright Playfields. Enjoy baseball and softball skill stations, games, giveaways, face painting, and more. Your favorite mascots, Stomper and Dinger, will be there. Space is limited, so register today at athletics.com/playball. That's athletics.com/playball. A's catcher Willie McIver joined Chris Townsend on A's Cast Live in West Sacramento to reflect on the emotions he experienced during his major league debut.
All the work that came before it, it was just kind of one of those moments that everything comes together for you. The fact that my parents and all the people that have been my backbone through my whole career, from 8 years old on, to be here and to enjoy that moment with them, for me, was what made it all that much better. Geez, I throw the guy out, and then 30 seconds later, I can go hug my dad, my brother, my mom in the stands, my high school coaches. I mean, come on, man. That's like, it's a dream come true. It gives me goosebumps just talking about it now. So to be able to enjoy that moment on the field with them after a Gatorade shower, man, it makes everything we've done, it makes it all worth it.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
Here's the pitch, and it's a hit. Folsom Lake Ford has stepped up again, winning the Triple Crown Award, Ford Motor Company's highest honor. Now 7 years in a row, Folsom Lake Ford is a top sales leader in the U.S., along with being top in customer satisfaction in sales, service, and finance. Now that's a home run. Don't miss the huge savings on your favorite models at your truck headquarters. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall.
Streaming from West Sacramento, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
The electric play of the week for the third straight week. Denzel Clarke is with us here on the set, A's Cast Live. Tony Kemp is sticking around for this also, and Tony will be a part with us later on, A's Cast on NBC Sports California. So we talked to you after you won it the first time, and then you crash into the wall here and you win it a second time. And then what you did in Anaheim, where it looked like you were going to scale the wall and run up the rocks and catch the ball. How does it feel now to win the award 3 straight weeks?
I mean, it is crazy. After the second one, I'm just going out here playing ball. It's cool getting recognized for it. After that play in Anaheim, I was like, people were telling me, you're going to win for a third time. I'm just like, I mean, after playing that, I'm like, I probably will. So it was crazy. It was crazy.
Well, you should. It was amazing. So what is that like that you've made the 3 catches, the highlight reel all over MLB Network, all over ESPN? You're getting the top 10. You're getting the number 1 out of the top 10 on ESPN. It's all over social media. Take us through the first 3 weeks in the big leagues and how everybody's paying attention to what you're doing in the outfield.
Yeah, and it's definitely humbling. You get to the big leagues, and it's the best in the world for a reason. So it's just learning to adjust to the speed of the game, the pace of the game, just knowing what you bring to the table. You're going to have to make an adjustment. So I know I bring my defense to the table, and I'm glad to go out there and help the team win with that. Hitting's a different beast up here, so making those adjustments as well. But, just super happy to be in the big leagues for these first 3 weeks and see how I can continue to grow and help the team as I progress.
Now, I don't want to take any credit, but let's talk about our text message that we went back and forth before the Toronto series. That was big. I feel like I was just able to see you in a different perspective of the game looked a little fast. And I just wanted to text you and say, like, hey, breathe, visualize some good things happening. Not taking any credit because you went out there and did your thing, but take me through that catch on the wall.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's when things really started settling down for me. It's just, you get to the big leagues and it's just like, okay, there's the imposter syndrome a little bit. It's just like my first time up here. It's just like, okay, like I got to come up here and do my thing.
Do I deserve to be here?
Yeah, almost. That's yeah. It's kind of what it is. And I trust my ability. I trust everything, all the work I put in, but it's almost just like, okay, you build it up so much your whole life. It's just like, okay, now that I'm here, what's going on? But that catch really helped me settle things down. It's just like I've made those catches before, like in the minors and college. Just like this is baseball, and I'm just going back doing it again. So after that, floodgates really opened for me. Just continue to build off of that.
Yeah, and then you went to Toronto, did your thing, hit the home run with the catch. Because I remember when you hit for the cycle in AA, I'm like, this kid's got it. The hitting will come. The hitting will come.
Yeah, no doubt.
Talk about, you saw that it was too fast.
Yeah.
What did you see, and what made you think I got to text him to help him out?
Well, I've seen Denzel Clarke in a sense of when the game is slowed down. So when you're in Midland when you hit for the cycle.
Yes.
Right. So I got to see those clips on Instagram, the confidence that this guy was walking out to the field, how he was rounding the bases, what his demeanor was. And then when things weren't going too well, it was the body language. And it was, I strike out and then the game might be over. But now I feel like he's able to slow the game down a little bit more. I just saw 2 different players, and now you can tell that he's slowing the game down a little bit better.
Well, one of the things that we have definitely all noticed, and we talked about this the last time we had you on from the Rogers Center, where you know, you talk about you're 6'4", and when you're 6'4", you got long legs, you got long arms, and
He's 6'4".
He's 6'4". My comparison, people are like, what's the comp? My comp was Randy Moss, right? 6'4", 220, the way he gets after it, because he's got the track skills from mom and parents. You got the track skills playing, but you talked about shortening up, and we've seen that, getting more compact with the offense. What have you been working on, and how's it been going?
Yeah, the biggest thing, just simplify, keep things compact. Like you said, big body, long arms, a lot of moving parts. So it's just, how can I just keep everything coordinated while staying athletic at the same time and just being me? So just been working on being early, just making my moves simple, setting everything up early, and just being ready to trust my eyes and trust my athleticism when the pitches come to the plate.
So the adjustments obviously are so key. So when he talks about slowing it down, have you felt like things are slowing down inside the box?
Absolutely, for sure. Just comes with the routines, and with everything, you got to make sure you breathe. Breathing just helps you stay grounded, helps you get reconnected to where you're at. So that's been very, very helpful as well.
Yeah, in aggressive counts, I feel like that's when you do well. You're looking for one pitch, one spot, you get it, and you're going. I feel like I got in trouble when I was a little bit too passive or second guessing myself in the box. When you're in the box and you're feeling good, you're not thinking about anything. And lately, I feel like you've been doing that too. Yeah. So keep it up.
Appreciate it.
You know, it's interesting when you bring up, and then you agreed with the whole thought process, do I deserve to be here? Because usually the fans think, oh, you get called up, this is like the greatest thing. You're like running around the clubhouse, and it's not that. You got to fit in. There's, luckily this is not some super veteran ball club, because back in the day, veteran ball clubs weren't necessarily the most welcoming place, right?
It was a little bit of a grind at first, but yeah.
So just talk about that, the process of where you are now versus where you are in the beginning, where it's like, do I really deserve to be here? To where obviously you deserve to be here.
Yeah, it's I think just the biggest thing. One thing I've just worked on through my whole career is my defense, and I've been told since I was like in high school, it's like you can play defense in the big leagues right now, which is like a huge compliment. But it's just like being able to, again, once in that Toronto series, when things settle down for me, it's just like, okay, this is what it means. Okay, I can play in the bigs, I can play defense here. It's the same game, and then with hitting and stuff, again, it's a lot of refinement, a lot of adjustments that I need to make that are going on. So it's just like it's almost like day after day. It's just like, obviously, you got to be committed to what you do and be committed to yourself. But it's also just like, trust the work you put in. They're not going to call you up if they don't think you belong there. So it's been awesome just being able to settle in.
And also, one thing that I'll leave you with that I want you to do too is that positive self-talk, that I am elite. I'm here. I belong. Because sometimes when you're out there, you do have that imposter syndrome, and that confidence is the hardest thing to hold on to because you're playing a game of failure at the highest level. So continue to do it right and believe in yourself and trust in everything that you're doing.
Appreciate it. Appreciate that, man.
It's so funny that you say that, because we Steve Sachs, he'll be sitting here. I mean, this guy won 2 World Series, a 5-time All-Star, right? He's one of only 5 guys in the history of the game to have 200 hits in both leagues and everything. But he always talks. It's like, did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
You had 14 years. I mean, it's tough. It's like you work so hard. It's a game of failure. You do have to sometimes sit there, and you guys can both talk about this. Like, you got to learn how to enjoy yourself.
You got to take a step back. But
leagues.
see, this is where it's hard too. Is you got to put yourself in his shoes of getting called up. You're about to play the Blue Jays. I'm from here. I got 100 people in the stands. I want to do well. I can't sleep because I'm so amped up to go into this game. Like, it's not just. You want it to be just baseball, but it's a lot more than that. And so, we talked about you're compartmentalizing certain things. You're like, all right, family's here. Okay, friends are here. Baseball's here. And you're just putting things in boxes. So, it's hard.
And talk to him also something that this is great, because it's stuff you're not going to get everywhere, where you talked about the adrenaline. You guys talk about the adrenaline, that the minor league adrenaline is different from the big league adrenaline. So when you slam into the wall here in West Sacramento, you may feel like Superman, but later on at night, you're not going to feel like Superman.
Feeling like Clark Kent later at night. But no, for real. Big league adrenaline is the real thing. It's just like you don't realize how much it plays until you're here. And it's just like everything's just moving faster. Like the game feels like it's moving faster, but like you feel like you're running a little faster. Bat gets through the zone quicker. It's just like throwing like I don't know, like 90 instead of 86 from the outfield. So it's just like, I don't know, the body's just feeling a little better. But it's, yeah, again, that's the biggest thing. I'm just slowing the game down and having a process to do that. So that really helps manage the adrenaline and everything that comes with it. So.
Yeah.
So you don't think about that, but yeah, there's a big difference.
Yeah. I mean, when you're playing in the minor leagues and you're going out and you're playing in front of 2,000 fans, and then all of a sudden you go, if that, and then you're going and playing against the Astros, and then all of a sudden it's 30,000. And when you hit those lines, just naturally your adrenaline and your blood are just going to flow faster, I feel like, and those hits are just going to take a toll.
Yeah.
So we can expect to have you back next week for week 4 of the electric play of the week.
Yeah, I'm gonna just keep going out there and helping the team.
I mean, just win it every week.
That'd be very cool. I'm gonna do my thing.
Have you noticed offensively that what they're trying to do? It's always a game of adjustments, right? And you're going to adjust from the time you get in to the time you retire. You adjust the league adjusts to you. Have you noticed some of the things that they're trying to do to you, or have things changed a little bit since you've been up here?
Yeah, there's always just gonna be like you said, the adjustments. They're gonna see if you can hit the heater. They're gonna see if you can hit spin, and then they're gonna make a plan off of that. So, just continue to adjust what they do to me and keep myself going from there.
Hey, keep doing it.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate it. Good stuff.
Appreciate you.
All right. Thank you so much, Denzel Clarke, right here on the set of A's Cast Live. You can get out of here now. And are you going to go take a nap?
Might have to.
All right. There you go. Go take a nap.
Make it a quick one.
For real.
Do you take naps before games?
Every game.
Did you really?
Yes, I have to. It was, yeah.
That's a skill, by the way.
You need it.
That is an absolute skill.
If I can shut my brain off for 30 minutes, I'm doing it.
Denzel Clarke, I can tell you that's we're trying to get, you get into the world of comps, right? Like we want to do a comp. Like what's Tony Kemp's got? Like everybody's got to have a comp.
Yeah.
I couldn't find one for baseball because he's the size of Dale Murphy. Do you remember Dale Murphy of the Atlanta Braves?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going back. You got to find somebody who's 6'4", 6'5", playing center field, because as great as Ken Griffey Jr. is, and I don't want to put that on him, but Griffey was 6'3", and like in his prime, he was like 180 something. This guy's 6'4", 220. That's why I said if I got to find a comp, it's like a guy who gets it and looks like him play. You remember Randy Moss put that big hand up and it was throwing the football. He reminds me of Randy Moss.
I don't. Give me a minute. And I'll think of a comp, but I can't off the top of my head.
It's been really hard because you can't find center fielders who are that tall and that weight.
Yeah.
It's a football weight is what it is.
Maybe we'll come back on.
Well, you got a few days to figure it out.
Okay. I'm going to do some research tonight.
That was fascinating. The adrenaline between the big leagues and the minor leagues. Adrenaline for professional athletes, obviously, is a big deal, right?
Yeah.
You got to live in our sport that's played every single day. Some days you just got to live off the adrenaline because it's going to be, the greenies are no longer as we used to talk about with the great Ray Fosse. Talk about that, how adrenaline is just different.
So the first person to bring the adrenaline to the game to me was George Springer. This was back in 2018, 2019. And we were locker buddies for 3 years while we were in Houston. And he was explaining to me about his body versus my body, but he was 6'4", way different, and he played very hard. I played very hard. My frame is a lot smaller, but the adrenaline in the game when you cross the lines and you are getting juiced up to play in front of all these fans, it's naturally coming through your veins, and you really can't explain it unless you've been out there and done it. You really can't tell from the fan perspective, but internally what we're feeling is those juices flowing. And for example, the Chicago Cubs, when I was on the Cubs in 2019 for that second half of the year, we had a bad road record, but our home record was so good because once we walked on the field, the adrenaline of that crowd on a Saturday playing the Cardinals just turned you on.
Wrigley Field's packed every game.
Brings you back. And so I don't think it's talked about enough, but it's definitely there.
Well, it is so true because it's the one thing that is so tough about retirement for a lot of professional athletes or even people, whatever you're in the entertainment business, let's say you're a singer, you're an actor. How do you replace the juice? the juice that you get, because
Yeah.
going to the grocery store, it's not like you walk into the grocery store. Tony Kemp is now in Safeway, and there's all these people applauding Tony Kemp and say, like, how do you get that's the broadcasting's one way, but it's still like, how do you replace that?
Honestly, I haven't had a tough time with it yet, but I think for some guys it might be like gambling, or it might be a different avenue, but it's hard to replace. You can't replace hitting a walk-off home run in front of the home crowd, or making number one on sport. Like that adrenaline, that level of adrenaline, you just can't recreate in a natural environment.
Well, that's why for so many years ago, why is that guy still boxing? Well, where else are you going to get walking into Caesar's Palace, into the arena in Vegas for a pay-per-view fight, and everybody's watching? Where are you ever going to get that? Like it's tough not to be addicted to it.
Yes, of course. And there is something to say when you're at the top of your game and you're playing really well and you're going to the biggest cities in the country and you're just showcasing your best talents day in and day out. That's tough to recreate. It's tough to recreate.
We're going to have George Evans come on here in just a moment. He's a prostate cancer survivor. I want to get your opinion on the Red Sox trade real quick.
We're getting into it.
It's interesting because I think it's a great move for both teams. I think it works out for both teams. The Giants have been desperately looking for a star-type bat to replace Barry Bonds. They finally get – the money's not in it, $251 or whatever it is million. That's not an issue for them. They're struggling offensively bad. So if they want to stay in this against the Dodgers and the Padres, they got to start scoring some runs. So I see it. Boston's an interesting situation. You got a lot of young players. You had that whole – however you want to see the fractured relationship between Devers and the front office. How do you see – let's take it not – the Giants side's real easy. They need somebody to help score runs.
Yes.
If you're a Red Sox fan, how are you feeling about it?
Ooh. It's tough because you pay this franchise player. He has come through the system. He has been in Boston his whole career. He's given you a pretty much 30 career WAR. He's hitting 270 with 15 this year, with almost like a 2.5 WAR. So the production is always there. I think the disconnect is when you pay a franchise player, you want him to be signing autographs and doing X, Y, and Z. It's not just baseball. It's a little more than that. It's, and I'm not in those clubhouses, but it's taking the rookies out to dinner, or it's leading in an example of this is a leader. So, for example, Alex Bregman coming over, having some guys have a couple beverages after the game. Hey, stay in this clubhouse with me. Like, that is, I think, what they were looking for, but maybe they weren't getting that from Devers. I think it's good because they're, Hicks is going in the trade. Harrison is going in the trade. They're getting, what was it, 2 other guys?
Yeah. They're getting the first rounder from this
Giants.
year.
The Giants need the bat. Obviously, when Matt Chapman comes back from being on the IL, he's a platinum Gold Glover. He's not going anywhere. But I think that bat is going to do a lot of damage to that lineup. I think Willie Adames even came out and said, hey, this is a bat that we need in the lineup. On the Red Sox side, I think it stings a little bit because you see Mookie Betts go. Now you've seen Devers go. And I think at one point, when you're a Red Sox fan, you look out in the outfield, and when you're winning a World Series and it's Andrew Benintendi, Jackie Bradley, and Mookie Betts, it's tough to get rid of those guys. So I feel like as our Red Sox fans, I feel like they're licking some wounds now, but only time will tell. Because now Breslow, right, he played for the Red Sox. I watched that. You watch that documentary on Netflix?
No, but we dealt with him a lot. Breslow was here.
Really good.
Smart dude.
Breslow was here. Smart dude. And he's in the trenches. He's in those meetings with those guys every day. So only time will tell for the guys that they got that are a little younger, but we'll see.
Yeah, because these are some of the top prospects in all of baseball. Forget just for the Red Sox.
Yes.
And you free up money, maybe that could be going to those guys long term. And I think of someone like you, how big it was for young players, like what you've done for Denzel Clarke. You need leadership. And if I'm paying a guy $300 million and I'm not getting that leadership,
help him.
He's not good for the young players.
He's not. It's like, okay, I have my franchise player come out and say, I don't want to do X, Y, and Z. Well, it's not exactly leading by example. That's not exactly what you want from the guy who has the biggest contract on the team. So I could see the disconnect too. So we'll see. I think Devers he's gonna play well. I mean, he's got some of the best hands I've ever seen. I think he's been a 3-time All-Star, World Series champion. He's done a lot for that city. So, once Bregman gets back, they signed up a couple of young guys too, and we'll see. How are they doing in that division right now? Are they
they're just over 500? They're still technically in this thing.
Yeah,
and
it's
I think
early. It's not even break.
And I think for Devers, you hit a couple balls in McCovey Cove, and everybody's going to love you. Let's bring on George Evans. George, come on up. George is a longtime A's fan, survivor of prostate cancer awareness day. He's a survivor of prostate cancer. He's going to be throwing out the first pitch tonight. How are you? Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You ready to throw out the first pitch tonight?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Very excited. Very excited.
I think about this because obviously it's affected my family. Prostate cancer. It's something that I get my blood test done every single year. And I'll go back, and since we're in Sacramento, one of the great Sacramento players of all time, guy to come out of here, that we all know is Dusty Baker.
Right.
And when Dusty Baker came back from press conference, I was around the Giants at the time. I was a really young guy. And I remember Dusty Baker said something, and I've never forgotten it, and I've used it a lot. Tomorrow is promised to nobody. And it was such a powerful statement because he was such a powerful public speaker, and it made everybody realize that. Right after that, Joe Torre got prostate cancer. Both of them beat it. And same thing. It's something that all men really need to make sure they're getting checked.
Exactly. And that's something that I truly believe in, because one of the things that's a cancer survivor, first of all, you're fortunate to be a survivor. But at the same time, you learn so much. Like I've had the opportunity to talk to many people who had either breast cancer, prostate cancer, other forms of cancer. And it's really humbling to find out what some people are going through. And the thing that the group that I belong to, it's the prostate cancer survivor group. It is one of the things where people have to, one, make sure that they're aware of what their health are. So that means getting checked once a year. It means going ahead and getting your PSA done.
Yes.
And it's one of those things where as long as you know about it, you can do something about it. But without knowing, then it gets a little bit hard. Myself, I was very fortunate to have a group of people, which now I call my team or family members, that basically kind of helped me through the process. I was diagnosed back in 2022 in February. When I found out that I had cancer, I realized that, I don't know anything about this. How do I find out, how it happened? What are my options and stuff like that? And I was very fortunate enough to have a good medical team that I chose. And then at the same time, family members who basically were supporting. My wife helped me to get together with a group of men, which are called the prostate health support group. And that's a group out of the Bay Area, African-American men. And we meet twice a month, the first and the third Tuesday of every month. And what the purpose is to sit back and educate people who do not have the support systems or who would like to have their questions answered. And one of the things I really feel is really important, if you have a question, go seek an answer, whether it be from your doctor, from a friend, anybody who you trust and is knowledgeable. And to me, it made a world of difference, because I'm still going to the meetings, even though I'm cancer-free.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's important to sit back and be knowledgeable and to be able to pass on what you've learned to other people, because there are a lot of people who basically are going through this for the first time and they're all alone. But no one should have to go through it alone. As long as you have family, you have a doctors, and then you have just friends who basically care about you and want to know, hey, well, this is what I heard, or this is what my brother did, or this is what my cousin did. You can sit back and draw from that and not be afraid of not knowing what's going on. And that's the biggest thing. You should never be afraid when you can seek knowledge. And that's what the support group's all about. That's what my doctor's all about. They really have given me the opportunity to understand what's happening in my body.
Well, I think about, Tony, you played on a lot of these days where We had all the blue bats and the blue hats and the blue. I mean, it's a day that men need to realize. And I know for as players, it's a day that means a lot because people, men and women, both affected, but definitely a lot of men in people's lives affected by prostate cancer.
My grandfather actually had prostate cancer, and so my dad makes sure that he's always on top of it, getting checked out, and I feel like I'm going to follow the same path. I mean, it's something that is rarely talked about, but I think just getting those checkups are the most important things, because the number one thing I feel like for people is it's not going to happen to me. And so when it does, it's like, let's take those precautionary steps, and that leads up to that.
Right. That's really important because, again, until the day that I was told that I had cancer, I had no idea that this was going to happen to me. But when it did, I had to do what I felt was needed of me. One, to be a good patient. One, to be a good parent, be a good husband, because the fact that you have to get support from somewhere. And if you can get that from your family, it makes a world of difference. Then your family's not just your wife or your kids or whatever, but anybody who cares about you. And that, to me, makes me feel that prostate survivor, as the group, is more like a team, because you have all these different people willing to go to bat for you, or to sit back and give you knowledge, or give you time to sit back and voice your concerns, voice your fears. And then at the same time, when you get together with a good medical team, you have the options. Do you go to radiation therapy? Do you have surgery? Do you have chemotherapy? These things are certain things that people have to think about, because the fact that cutting out a limb or cutting out a piece of your body is a serious choice. And that's one of the things where I feel like I was really blessed. The doctor that runs the support group out of the Bay Area, Dr. Palmer, she was very serious with me when I sat back and said, well, I think I want to have this cut out. And I said, oh, and she said, George, you may not want to do that. It may not be an option for you. And again, the option is different from everybody. Each person has to make that decision for themselves. They have to figure out, do they want chemo? Do they want to have radiation? Do they want to have surgery? And it's a very personal thing, because each one of those options has consequences. And the consequences may be, one, you may get your prostate taken out, but at the same time, they're going to have to replace something in there to get the urinary tract to still work. And if you make the wrong decisions, or if you have a bad operation, you might have infections after. So because of hearing that, and from Dr. Palmer and from other people, basically I chose to go with radiation. So I had about 34 radiation treatments, which they were really simple. I mean, I was on the table for 20 minutes a day, Monday through Friday, for about, again, 34 sessions. And what was so amazing was I was focused on not letting cancer beat me. So I never missed a day of work. I would always be able to sit back and go to work, leave work, go have my treatment, and then come back and continue my day. And that's because of the fact that, one, I tried to make sure I took good care of myself. I changed my eating habits. I exercised more often. I sat back and did things that the doctors and other people were telling me that was right for my condition. Right. And it's really, really helped me a lot. And again, I would not have had that if I not sought out a team, a group of people, whether it be my doctors, my family members, or just people who cared about me, to say, hey, I heard, and then I'd go ahead and I consult with the doctors, and they say, okay, that sounds good. So I feel really blessed to have had my team to sit back and help me through some rough times.
Get that right arm going. You're throwing out the first pitch.
Okay.
Hey,
okay.
God bless you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Can't wait to see that. The biggest key. We want to thank everybody for stopping by today. Tony Kemp making his debut tonight. It's going to be huge. Denzel Clarke, George Evans here. A special day today here at the ballpark. We got Johnny and Ken getting you ready for A's baseball next. And coming up at 6:30, Tony Kemp and I, A's Cast on NBC Sports California. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening to A's Cast Live.
Oh, my God!
Denzel Clarke!
Every day is a highlight show.
That was by far the nastiest catch I've ever seen.
I got to a point during my ride, I was like, I probably got a chance to catch this thing. That just did what the ball told me to do, go up and get it.
Oh, my God! Makes another catch!
Oh, my God! You want to talk about playing above the rim? How did he do it? That's the best catch I have ever seen in my entire life.
What's it like to steal a home run?
You got a lot of pride behind that. Like, I just did that. It's kind of cool.